Hi, I'm Alex and this is Pulse Geelong. Coming up on tonight's show, Cornelius checks out the latest art installation at the National Wool Museum. We hear from the Community Forum on fracking, and we have some music from Geelong College Girls Ensemble. But first, we have a series of stories from the Lorne Festival of Performing Arts. Here's Lisa with more.
Today we're at the Mantra down in Lorne, on the waterfront down here. It's a beautiful day. We're down here for the Love Lorne Festival of Performing Arts. First up, we're going to go and have a look at a photographic exhibit by Greg Briggs. He's done a portrait of the people of Lorne. Can you tell us a bit about the concept of the exhibit?
Yeah, sure. So the idea of the exhibit, it's really about exploring Lorne for me, and it's about exploring photographically, and it's about exploring Lorne specifically in the cooler months, the more winter months, when a lot of the summer crowds and the tourists actually, they've headed back to Melbourne or they've headed back to their homes, and Lorne really gets back to what I'd call more of a local town. I really wanted to focus on more of this local side, so the people who live here all year round, the people who brave visiting here in the beach, in the really icy cold months, and just really get a little bit of a cross section of all that and scratch under the surface.
Lorne does change between summer and winter months quite a lot. Do you call yourself a local?
I'm not a local. No, I wouldn't say that. By virtue of having a holiday house down here, I do come down here a fair bit on weekends and really whenever I can. I come here more than a couple of times a year, so this was really about me getting to know Lorne more than I have previously as a visitor.
Tell us about your photographic journey of your life so far.
So I spent a good deal of my life not being into photography at all. I mean, I'd take photographs when I went on holidays and things like that, but I never really thought about those, composition or anything. In about the last 4 or so years, I started taking photos on my mobile phone as a way of exploring the city and kind of escaping from my day-to-day work, in the office work, I guess. It was really about just getting out at lunchtime, getting my phone out, taking photos, and I just discovered a love for it. And since then, it's just been a passion that's grown inside me, and I can't go anywhere without taking a photo, really. I mean, I'm always taking photos. I see photos everywhere. Like, I see a potential photo anywhere, I guess. So that's where photography began for me, I guess. So yeah.
And the range of work do you do? Is it photojournalism, or do you diversify into other areas?
I do a lot of street photography, so I guess that can be classified as photojournalism, and I also do a lot of straight photojournalism and documentary work. I do love the storytelling element of photography, but I also enjoy taking portraits of people. I mean, I do a broad range. I'll almost have a crack at anything, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's capturing the moment for me that really interests me about photography, and it's also, I really enjoy the mobile phone side of things because it's all about connecting with people as well, instantaneously, and I think that's something that has never been around before, and in the last sort of 3 or 4 years has that really been something where we can take a photo, tell a story, share it out to the world, all within a couple of minutes. And I think that's what I really love about photography as well.
Now, you mentioned sort of getting into that world of the digital photography. Do you do much post-production editing on the computer with your images afterwards, or as you have captured them when you've taken them?
I don't do a lot of work. I can. I don't mind playing around on Photoshop, and I have taken images to their extreme in Photoshop. But that's not really what interests me. In fact, less and less. I don't mind editing on the phone and doing little minor tweaks and things like that, but that's not really what interests me. The actual art, the practice of taking the photograph itself is what really interests me. I don't find that I spend a lot of time afterwards. Yeah, so no, not really.
Now, we're sitting in the foyer of the Mantra down here at Lorne with your beautiful exhibit around us. Could you take us through some of your artworks and give us some of the stories behind the pictures?
Yeah, sure, I could do that.
this is one of your photographs here. Was this a happy accident or a little staged?
Yes, this was a happy accident, and I guess this is just one of those instances where you've always got to be on the lookout as a photographer. Always, be looking for that right moment. I'd been watching this boy and his dad on the side of the pier for about 5 minutes, and I'd fired off a couple of photographs of them. I just saw him step down off the side, and it was a freezing cold day, and I think he wanted to just dip his toe in the water or just check the temperature, and I just reached out over the pier and I just held my camera out and tried to get it straight and took a photo, and I think it turned out really well because the light's nice and it's just a really beautiful moment, so happy accident. I think this is actually a pretty typical scene in Lorne. I don't think the locals like it very much in terms of attracting and feeding the cockies, but this guy had been here, and once again he was with his family and he's just right into it. At one stage he probably had about 10 birds on him, and I just crossed the road and probably shot about 3 or 4 photos of him doing this, and he didn't even notice me. So I just love this whole image, and to me it sums up a little bit about what Lorne is. I often see this very similar situation occurring around town, so I love it.
Australian being multicultural, of course, so we got some multicultural visitors to Lorne. Tell us about this couple that you've spoken and photographed.
Their children lived in Australia. They own a shop here, and they were just visiting for the weekends, and I noticed them taking photographs of each other, and so I offered to take a photograph of the whole group, and it was a bit of an in to take this photograph, which I just thought was really beautiful. And I mean, I got chatting to them, and they were just really impressed at how welcoming Australians were to them. I think he'd been a little worried that we weren't going to accept him for his beard and turban, and it was just really, it was almost a relief and a surprise almost at how well he'd been treated and how lovely we were to him. So, and I think that's just that's a nice reflection on a town like Lorne anyway, and how welcoming they are. So I think it's one of my favourite shots of the series, to be honest.
Now, Greg, this final photo, happy accident?
Yeah, for sure. This was, it was considered, but it's not set up in any way. It was a really stormy day in Lorne. I'd been photographing the football in the morning, and I came down to, get a drink from the service station or something, and I just saw the light had just come through, and everything kind of came together. So I just literally got out of my car. I saw the rainbow, and I saw the way that the light was falling on the wall of the theatre, and thought, this is a great shot. And then all of a sudden, the lady came along on crutches and crossed the road, and I think all the elements just joined up to make quite an interesting photo. It still would have been a nice photo if she hadn't have walked through, but I think there's something interesting what happens when she walks into the frame, and there it was. There I got it. Another moment of Lorne, another portrait of Lorne, I guess.
This is Lisa for Pulse Geelong.